Now, the CBS 21 Political Insiders with Rob Hanrahan.
And the insiders are here. We've got Mark Singal, our Democratic strategist, and Kevin Harley is in for Charlie Giroux on the Republican side. And guys, we started our Beyond the Podium segments this week, which are going to look at all the candidates going up to the midterm. And today we had Mr. Walker, who's running against Walker.
Scott Wagner.
Scott Walker. Scott Wagner is running against Governor Wolf. Got a lot of names going around in my head right now. Anyway, let's listen to what Scott Wagner, a little bit about what he has to say about the difference between him and the governor.
He went into his family business in 6th generation, so while I have a lot of respect for, for Governor Wolf and the 6th generation business survival, I mean, it was plug and play for him. I started from scratch, so huge difference. He's a white collar elitist. I'm a blue collar guy.
Well, what do you think, Kevin Harley?
Well, Scott Wagner is definitely a blue-collar guy. There's no question about that, and it is true that Governor Wolf was the 3rd or 4th generation that inherited the family business. But in terms of their style, it is completely different. Scott Wagner is kind of been compared to Donald Trump, kind of this entrepreneurial, kind of tough guy, bully, and Governor Wolf is much more cerebral in his approach to campaigning and in his personal one-on-one.
A lot of people are saying, where in the world is Governor Wolf, Mark?
Well, and that's a fair question. I think that it's fair to say that Governor Wolf tends to be a little aloof, and he is cerebral, as you're saying. But when Senator Wagner says that he's an elitist, that's a cheap shot. That's a little bit too far, particularly when you're running a company and making $50 or $60 million a year. So, I don't particularly appreciate that kind of pejorative. But it is also true that Wolf has adopted a kind of a defensive posture, and he's playing not to lose, and he's really cutting his appearances and not having a bunch of debates. Not sure that's a good idea.
Well, we asked the same questions to all of the candidates. An open invitation, Governor Wolf. Come on, do Beyond the Podium with us. Nikki Haley, real quick now. Kind of a different scenario today with President Trump. The two sat down together, and now she's leaving at the end of the year. What is your take on that, Kevin?
Well, I don't really put too much into that. You heard what the president and Nikki Haley both said, is that she discussed this with him 6 months ago, and it's one of the few secrets that the White House has been able to keep. But if you go back and look at the tenure of UN ambassadors, they're not real long. Every now and then you get one 3 or 4 years, but 2 years is not unusual at all for a tenure as a UN ambassador, and she pretty much said she wants to go explore things in the private sector.
What's your take,
of course,
Mark?
social media is blowing up with all kinds of speculation, and one doesn't know. But I will say two things. Number one, I think she's a star. I think Nikki Haley is one of his best appointments, and she has been a very good ambassador to the UN. My speculation is that they're preparing for something else. For example, what if Lindsey Graham ends up being Attorney General and, say, Nikki Haley ends up being the senator from South Carolina? You heard it here first.
Yeah. She says she's not going to run against the president in 2020, but that would be a whole different scenario.
Sure.
She becomes the senator.
Sure.
So there you go.
Although I think UN ambassador is probably a better job than U.S. senator from South Carolina.
Well, it depends. You could be with your family more. I mean, it might fit her lifestyle. So, the Mark Singal theory is that you haven't heard the last of Nikki Haley.
And a lot of times when somebody is stepping down from a position like that, and they're doing it amicably, the president usually has the next successor already ready and will say, I'm looking at this person with that job. He did not do that today. Gentlemen, thank you. You can hear more from our political insiders Sunday mornings at 8:30 on CBS 21's Face the State.